So guys, welcome to the most epic tutorial ever created on TradingView. This is a series of videos that we are making on TradingView to explain each and every functionality of TradingView in the most practical way possible. So we started this series with the basics of TradingView, and from there we went down to the charting functionalities of TradingView. This particular video is focused on the alerting functionality of TradingView, and then subsequently we will cover advanced functionalities such as backtesting and strategy creation. So if you guys are watching this video for the first time, if you guys are hearing me for the first time, then you should check out the previous two videos that we have created in this series, because they will give you a very good understanding of the basics and the charting functionality of TradingView. And while you are at it, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. So with that, let's get started with the alerting functionalities in TradingView. Now, the first question that I want to answer, even before we get down to the technicalities, is that why do we need the alerts, right? Because a lot of beginners, they might be wondering that, okay, I'm trading right now, why do I need the alerts, right? So first thing that you need to know is that having alerts will make sure that you will never miss any opportunity, right? Sometimes we are busy, sometimes we are paying attention to something else. And unless we get notified that yes, there is an opportunity out there, let's say in a certain stock or the index, we will miss that opportunity. The second very important reason is that in trading especially, you need to let the setup come to you, right? So what happens is that a lot of times we are staring at the market for, let's say, non-stop 2 hours, 3 hours or 4 hours. And sometimes, we compromise on the quality of the setups. See, this kind of impulsive trading can easily be avoided if you are waiting for the alerts to come to you, right? Only when the alert comes, only then you will go to the trading terminal and you will look for that specific stock, right? So you let the setup come to you, you let the market come to you rather than you chasing the market or chasing a certain stock. So just so that I can emphasize the importance of alerts, let me show you that today I bought ICICI Bank from a long-term investment perspective because there was an alert on ICICI Bank that when it comes down 20% from the level that I have marked earlier, I will buy a very small amount of ICICI Bank for my long-term investment. And the second alert, which was very, very interesting, was on a certain level that I was watching out in Nifty. Now I was working on something else, so I set this alert up, and then when the alert came, I took the trade, and take a look at how quickly I entered and exited this trade. So basically this was a scalp. So I entered the trade at 10:20 and I exited the trade at 10:22. So my trade was basically for 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, I made 21,000 rupees. So you can understand the importance of timing. Right, for all of you scalpers, you know the importance of timing in a trade, right? So you have to get in, you have to get out exactly on time, otherwise the trade can get into some serious trouble. Okay, so now that we understand the importance of alerts, let's talk about the kind of notifications that we can get from TradingView if we create these alerts, right? So the first kind of alert is very common, which is called the pop-up alert. Now pop-up alert looks like this. So it's basically like a little window which pops out and you just have to say okay. And if you want to change something, you can click on edit. The next kind of alerts are sound-based alerts. So for example, on your laptop or your desktop, the notification will make some sound to remind you, to notify you that the alert has been triggered. You can even have email alerts, or you can have some push notifications on your mobile app. Now let's talk about the types of alerts that you can create in TradingView. So in TradingView, broadly speaking, you can create 4 types of alerts. The number one type of alert is price-based alerts, right? So you have a price for a certain stock or an index, you can create alerts based on that, or you can create alerts based on indicators, right? So you have all these indicators, moving average, RSI, MACD. So you can create alerts based on the levels or the crossovers of these indicators. And then TradingView gives you some really sophisticated alerting functionalities in terms of drawing alerts, means you can have your trend lines or patterns that you have drawn on the chart. So you can create alerts based on those drawings. And the most sophisticated of all is the strategy alert. Now there are some really advanced functionalities available in TradingView regarding alerts, and it's practically not possible to cover all of them in one video. So what we'll do is we'll start with the pricing alerts today, and we will understand each and every aspect of how to set price alert, which is the most common type of alert. And using that as a foundation, in the second video, we will cover the rest of the alerts. So with that said, let's get started with alerts. So TradingView has been designed in such a way that you can create alerts through multiple navigations, right? So you can create alerts from here, click on this button and create alert. And this is the window which will pop up every time we create an alert. Or what you can also do is that you can go to a certain price and then you can do a right click and then you can add an alert. That's another way of doing it. So no matter from which navigation you are going, you basically are coming down to the same window, but there are different ways in which you can come to this particular screen. Now the next option here is that you see this little alarm clock. So you click on that. This is the alerts window. So here you can also click on create alert, and then you will get to the same screen as we have been seeing. Now you can see that this particular window has been divided into two parts. One is the alerts. So you can see all the alerts that you have created here, and you will see the alerts log. So all those alerts that got triggered can be seen here. Now there is one more way you can create alert, and that is you can just go to this particular axis, and then you see this little plus icon. You can click on that, and that will also create the same alert. This time it will be in the form of a line, but end of the day this is also the same alert screen. What we'll do is that we will create a new alert from scratch. Now this is a very important screen, so we want to spend some good time understanding this screen. So starting from the top, it is telling us that the condition. So in this particular case, the alert is going to be on Reliance, the stock of Reliance, and here is the drop down. So you have a lot of different variations in which you can create alerts. So we will discuss that in just a minute. What we'll do is, as of now, we will just create one alert, and then we will go back to understanding each and every option. Right. So what I will do is that right now I will just create an alert. Let's say less than, if the price of Reliance is, let's say, less than 2050. And here in options, it's telling me that how many times do I want this alert to get triggered. So if it's only once, then I will click on this. And if I want this alert to be triggered every time, then I will click on every time. Right. So in this case, let's say just only once. I can also set an expiry. So in this case, let's say I want this alert to be valid for the next, let's say 2 weeks. So I can create an alert for the next 2-3 weeks. And in the advanced version of TradingView, you can also create open-ended alerts, which basically means that the alert will never expire ever. Right. So if I click on this right now, it will give me an error that if you want this, you have to pay for it. So right now I'm just going to cross it out. Now here it is telling me what kind of notifications do I want to get. So the first option here is the notify on app, which means that on the TradingView app on my mobile, I will get notified when the alert gets triggered. Now for that, you will have to basically download the TradingView app from App Store or from Google Play. And then after you have logged in, it will give you that notification whenever the alert gets triggered. Second is the pop-up, which we will see just in a minute. Now the third option is email. So that's the good old email. So the email alerts, they look something like this. You see all these notifications that I have gotten from TradingView. This is how the email alert looks like. So you click on this, it will just give you a little bit more detail about the alert. Right. So very, very simple, very straightforward. Now after the email, you have something very interesting called webhook. Now this is something that we will discuss separately in the next video, because this is a little sophisticated functionality. We have to need some time for this. After this, you can select whether you want to play any sound notification on your computer or your laptop. If I don't want that, I can just uncheck it. But if I want it, I will just check it. And you can select the different types of sounds that it creates, like say alarm sound, and the frequency, right? So just say, let's say for one time or for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, we can define for how long we want the sound to be played. The last option is about the email to SMS, means that we want to get notified via SMS. So it will be sent to the phone number that is associated with your account. Right. So having said all that, let's create one alert called Reliance test. And let's just keep the message as the same. You can change it if you want to. And I'm going to create. Right. So the alert. So here you can see the alert already got triggered. Now the reason it got triggered, and you can see here in this window, that if the value of Reliance, the price of Reliance was less than 2050, the alert would have gotten triggered. And that's exactly what happened. And here in the alert log, you can see that the alert got triggered at 3:26 p.m. Now here you can see that on the email as well, I got this alert, right? So this TradingView alert for Reliance test, that is what we created. And it is telling me that this Reliance is less than 2050. And that is why the alert was triggered. Now here it is in orange. It means the alert has been stopped and it has already been triggered. But what I can do is that I can restart. Right, so I can restart this and it becomes green again, it becomes active, and then again it got triggered, and again so every time it gets triggered, it's getting stopped. So what I can do is that I can basically come back, and instead of saying only once, I can make it every time. So what that will basically do is that it will keep creating alerts every time. I don't have to go and I don't have to keep clicking on this again and again. So this time it got triggered, I will say okay, but this time it did not go back to stopped, right? So it is still active. So you can see all those instances when those alerts were created also. So right now it's giving us this alert too many times. What I will do is we'll just pause it or stop it. So guys, now that we have understood all these options at a high level, now what we'll do is we will understand each and every condition listed here. Now I know that a lot of people, they get confused because maybe the documentation is not that good or somebody has not really explained them how this thing works. So please pay attention very closely because I will take scenarios for each of them and explain them one by one. So let's start with the crossing itself, right? So when I say Reliance crossing a certain level, so let's take an example here. Let's say on the daily chart of Reliance, I see that Reliance seems to have support somewhere around 1900 rupees. So every time Reliance crosses this key level, I need to know, because if Reliance is able to sustain above this level, probably I can take a long trade. But if this level is broken on the downside and there is no coming back, then I might also initiate a short trade. So I don't know at this point of time what I want to do, but I do want to know when Reliance comes and tests this level, right? So in this particular case, what I will do is I will say Reliance crossing the value of 1900, and I will make it every time because I need to know this every time, and I can keep it like an open-ended one. So let's say for the next 1 month, and all those notification types that we have already discussed. Now what will happen is when I say crossing, now this is something very important that you have to understand. The way crossing works is that the notification will be triggered whenever the price crosses 1900. So let's say tomorrow what happens is Reliance starts to come down and it breaks 1900, I will get notified. But let's say on the same day, Reliance turns around and goes above 1900. So even for that, I will get alerted. So this is my alert line. And whenever this line is crossed, either on the downside or on the upside, doesn't matter how many times, I will get notified. So crossing basically means that price has to cross that line. So in this particular case, this is my line, this is my price line. And every time there is a crossing of this price, I will get notified. Now you can say that, you know what, this is a support. I don't really care if the price goes above it, but I do need to know when the price goes below 1900. Now in that case, what you will do is you will create an alert of crossing down. It means alert me only and only if the price crosses down. That means it goes below the specified price of 1900, right? So this is my line, this is my price line. So if the price goes below 1900, it crosses 1900 line, I will get notified. But if the price recovers back above, I will not get notified because this is of the type of crossing down. Now similarly, let's say for example, you want to create an alert if Reliance starts to go above its key resistance of 2300 thereabouts, right? So what you can do is that, okay, you can say, all right, this is the key resistance. And if Reliance breaks this key resistance and it stays above it, then I might want to take a long position on Reliance. So in that case, what you can do is you can say crossing up kind of an alert, and you can specify the price, in this case 2300 for example, and you can give a date as we discussed. So in this particular case, what will happen is that you will get notified only if the price of Reliance crosses above this level, right? So this is crossing up. So the cross has to happen, guys. You have to understand this. The name itself says cross. So the cross means the intersection has to happen between the price and the alert line. So by the way, speaking of the alert line, you guys can see this dotted line here, right? So this dotted line will show up every time, and then you can just hover over this. It will turn a little bright orange. You can double click on this. You can change some values if you want to, or you can even delete it if you want to. So, okay guys, so we talked about crossing up and crossing down. Now let's talk about greater than and less than. So greater than and less than, they are very, very simple. So greater than, for example, it basically will get triggered if the price of that particular stock or the commodity or the index is above that value. So in this case, let's say for crude oil, let's say I create an alert that if the price of crude oil is, let's say, above 4,300, which is what it is right now, I want the alert to be generated, right? So right now it is clearly above this. So the moment I create this, I should get a pop-up alert and of course an email alert that crude oil is above. So in this case, let's say I will call it crude oil greater than testing. So the moment I will create, I should get an alert. So let's do it. So you can see right here, there is a little pop-up alert which says alert on crude oil. That is what we just created right now, right? Now the question remains that, okay, this alert got triggered, which is fine. But the question is, it is still above 4,300. So will the alert keep triggering? Answer is yes. It will keep triggering every minute. As you can see, we got another alert, another notification that crude oil is greater than 4,300. So I'm going to say okay. And if I don't stop it, it will keep coming up. So let's just wait for one more minute. So it gets created every minute. So we got at 47, we got at 48, and we will get one at 49. There you go. As you can see guys, at 349. So I'm just going to pull this up. So we got an alert at 347, 348, 349. So every minute crude oil is above 4300, which is what our alert was, right? So if I click on this, I can see this alert. We will keep getting the notification. So I don't want this to happen every time. So I'm just going to pause it or stop it for now. So now that we have understood greater than, let's talk about less than. So the concept of less than is exactly the same, but just in the opposite direction. So in this case, let's say if crude oil is less than, I'm going to say 4,360, means this price right here, then I need to get notified, let's say one time. I don't want to create every time. So I'm just going to say, right, so I'm just going to create, and any moment I should get the notification. There we go. Right. So the idea behind greater than and less than is very simple. If the price of that particular stock or the index or the commodity is greater than a certain level, it will keep giving us notification. If it is less than a certain level, it will keep giving us notification. Now, I personally use less than a lot, not so much on the greater than, because less than is very important for my long-term investments, right? So for example, I have, let's say, certain stocks that are below a certain level where I want to accumulate them. So I want to be reminded again and again that yes, this stock is very cheap, buy it, right? So let's say I ignored one notification. I want the system to keep reminding me till I actually invest in that stock at that level. I don't want to miss that opportunity. Now let's talk about entering channel and exiting channel. Now channel in the language of TradingView is nothing but a range. So when you select entering channel, for example, you see the upper bound and the lower bound. So in this case, let's say Reliance is trading in a range, right? So Reliance is trading, let's say, between 1900 to let's say 2000. So what I can do is I want to get notified if on the upper side, this is my boundary, and on the downside, this is my boundary. So this basically is my channel, right? And if the stock enters into this channel, I want to get notified. So the idea is that this is the channel that I have defined. The moment the stock enters into the channel, either from the lower side or from the upside, I will get notified. So this is my upper range. So this is 2000, for example, here. And this is my lower range. So this is 1900 here. So I will not get any notification if Reliance stays here, 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 or Reliance is above this. But the moment Reliance enter this channel, I will get notified. Or the moment Reliance enter this channel from the lower side, I will get notified. Now, similar to the entering channel is the exiting channel. So in the entering channel, we get notified when the price enters into the channel. Whereas in the exiting channel, we will get notified when the price exits the channel. So in this case, let's say, what I will do is, let's say I'm going to make this a little wider. I'm going to make it this 2300 and 1900. Let's just create this, right? So you can see here when I hover over this orange kind of a box. So this is the upper range. This is the lower range, right? And I can, by the way, I can move it. I can change the boundaries of this channel, right? So when I drag and drop this like this, it will basically adjust the values and I can save it. So now my channel has become this. So in this particular case, let's say, for example, I will make it a little wider somewhere around here, right? So currently my channel is between 1986 all the way to 2300, right? So I'm going to save it. So I will get a notification from TradingView if and when Reliance, let's say, breaks this channel on the downside, I will get notified. Or let's say it breaks the channel on the upside. So whenever it is exiting these two boundaries, exiting this channel, then I will get notified. So I think this visual thing is very helpful because you can visually see whether the boundaries that you are identifying, they are good boundaries or not. And you can always, drag them and adjust them as you like. Okay, so now let's talk about the concept of inside channel and outside channel. So the idea in the entering and exiting channel was that when the price was breaking the upper and lower boundary, we wanted to get notified. Well, here in this case, we want to get notified if the stock stays inside the channel or outside the channel. So let me explain what that means. So let's say inside the channel, right? So I will say between, let's say, 2000 to 2300. This is my channel and I want to get notified every time the stock stays in this channel. So right now, as you can see that there are two boundaries here. You have 2300 on the upside, you have 2000 on the downside. So if the stock stays in this channel, I will keep getting notifications every minute or the time frame that I have specified. Now I don't see a lot of value of having these kind of alerts, but that is me. I'm sure you guys have some other scenarios where you can use them. Same is the case with outside channel. So when you select outside channel, you will get the notification when the stock is outside the channel. So in this particular case, let's say I will create a channel between 2300 and 2000. So this is my range right here. So I will get an alert the moment the stock comes out of the channel. So this is my lower boundary. This is my upper boundary. The moment it comes out of this channel, I will get notified, and I will keep getting notified till the time the stock stays outside the channel, right? So this is my channel. I don't want the notification to come when the stock is in this channel. I want the notification to come if it's here or if it's here, right? So that is the idea behind the outside the channel alerts. Now let's talk about some very interesting alert conditions. So in this case, let's say moving up. Now you see when I select moving up, I can specify by how many rupees if Reliance moves in 1 bar or 2 bars or 3 bars or 10 bars, I want to get notified. So in this case, one is of course 1 rupee. So I want to know, let's say for example, 50 rupees. If Reliance makes a move of 50 rupees in let's say 5 bars, I want to get notified. So the perfect real life situation where you will have an alert like this is when you want to see momentum, right? So there are a lot of stocks that move in momentum, and when they pick up the momentum, that is the right time when you want to get into them. So moving up means if Reliance in this case moves up 50 rupees in 5 bars, right? So 5 bars here is, this is daily chart, but if you want to make it like a 5-minute chart, you can make it as a 5-minute chart. If Reliance moves 50 rupees, it means it's moving very quickly and you want to get notified immediately. Similarly on the moving down, so I want to get notified if Reliance or any other stock is falling, let's say 50 rupees or more in 1 bar, or you can make it 2 bars or 3 bars. So you can basically define whatever number of bars that you want to define here depending on your time frame. And you also have some choices here that you want to do this based on time. You can choose whichever option suits you. But the basic idea here is that you want to see the momentum, right? How quickly the prices are moving. And that is applicable for moving up and moving down. Now, similar to the concept of moving up and moving down, we have the concept of moving up percent and moving down percent. So when I select moving up percent, instead of specifying in rupees, I'm specifying in percentage. So let's say 1%. So 1% move, let's say it happens in 1 bar. It means that Reliance is ready to move very, very quickly, right? So I want to know that. So I don't want to specify the rupee value. I would rather specify the percentage, which is much easier for me to understand and trade. Similarly, moving down. So moving down means if let's say Reliance went up, let's say 2% within a matter of let's say 10 minutes. So 10 minutes will be 2 bars here. So I want to know if Reliance fell down within 10 minutes. If it fell down 2%, it means the market is very weak. Probably there are some shorting opportunities. So I can look for opportunities like that. So guys, I hope that you understood how the price alerts work in TradingView. But party abhi shuru hui hai. There are so many different variations of alert. There is so much more functionality in TradingView regarding alerts, which we will be covering in the next video. So up until that time, just keep giving us feedback, keep giving us comments, keep giving us likes and shares so we can stay motivated to bring you guys the most comprehensive videos on trading and investing.